Have you ever wondered why you're still single, despite being emotionally available, spiritually curious, and more self-aware than ever? You're not broken. You're not unlucky. And no, love hasn't skipped over you. What if the real reason isn't out there in the world, but hidden deep inside your unconscious mind? According to Carl Jung, love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about confronting the parts of ourselves we've buried, rejected, or forgotten. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'll reveal a profound Jungian insight about soulmates that will completely reframe how you see love, loneliness, and the journey back to yourself. Let's dive into it. 1. Soulmates are not found, they're activated. In today's culture, we're constantly told that our soulmate is someone out there, waiting to be found, like a needle in a cosmic haystack. But Carl Jung flipped this idea on its head. He believed that the soulmate isn't something we find. It's someone who activates what's already inside of us. When we meet a so-called soulmate, it often feels like magic. Time slows down, our heart races, and we're overwhelmed by a strange familiarity. Jung would argue that this person has triggered a projection, an unconscious image of the anima or animus within us. In other words, we're not falling in love with the real person, we're falling in love with the hidden part of our psyche they awaken. So if you're still single, maybe you haven't met someone who reflects your soul because you haven't yet met your soul. 2. Loneliness isn't a curse, it's a mirror. Jung once said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. In other words, you might be surrounded by people and still feel completely unseen. Modern dating often bypasses emotional depth in favor of superficial attraction. But for someone on a path of individuation, the process of becoming your whole self, shallow connection simply isn't enough. Your singleness isn't a failure. It's your soul refusing to settle. It's a sacred pause, giving you the space to reflect on your wounds, your desires, and your shadow. Because until you know who you are beyond your ego, you'll keep looking for someone to complete you instead of someone to walk beside you. 3. Your shadow chooses your lovers. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. The people we're drawn to often mirror the unhealed parts of ourselves. Jung called this the shadow, the hidden aspects of our personality that we don't want to face. You may consciously want a kind, stable, loving partner, but if your shadow holds unresolved trauma, unworthiness, or fear of abandonment, you'll unconsciously be drawn to people who reflect that chaos. Think of all the times you said, I don't know why I was attracted to them. That's the shadow talking. Being single right now could be your soul protecting you from repeating painful patterns. It could be your psyche saying, heal this first so you don't attract it again. 4. Romantic love is often a spiritual shortcut. Jung didn't romanticize love. In fact, he often warned against confusing infatuation with transformation. Falling in love can feel transcendent, even mystical, but what we're really experiencing is a glimpse of our own soul through the eyes of another. That's why it's so intoxicating. It's not just them we're seeing, it's us, unmasked and expanded. But here's the danger. If we rush into relationships hoping they'll fix us, we bypass the hard inner work. That's what Jung called spiritual bypassing, using romance as a drug to avoid facing our deepest wounds. Being single gives you a chance to build that connection with yourself without projecting it onto someone else. It's the slower road, yes, but it leads to real intimacy. 5. The anima and animus are within you. Jung introduced two powerful archetypes: the anima, the feminine within the male psyche, and the animus, the masculine within the female psyche. These aren't gender roles. They're energies: creative, intuitive, decisive, protective, that live within all of us. When these inner figures are undeveloped, we seek them in others. That's why people fall madly in love with someone who completes them. It's their anima or animus in disguise. But when you do the inner work to integrate these aspects of yourself, something beautiful happens. You stop seeking completion outside of yourself. You become whole. And whole people don't beg for love. They recognize it. They attract it naturally without losing themselves in the process. 6. You're not meant to be in a relationship right now. Yes, I said it, and not because you're flawed, too picky, or emotionally damaged, but because your soul may be calling you to something deeper than romance. Carl Jung believed that real growth comes from solitude. When we're alone, we can no longer use others as distractions. We have no choice but to face our fears, insecurities, and longings head on. Your singleness could be a sacred invitation, a rite of passage. It might be preparing you for a relationship that's more conscious, more grounded, and more aligned than anything you've ever known. 7. Stop looking for the one. Start becoming it. This is where everything changes. The myth of the soulmate tells us there's one perfect person out there who will make everything better. But Jung invites us into a different myth, the path of wholeness. He believed that love is not about merging into one. It's about two whole beings walking together, mirroring each other's growth, facing their shadows, and evolving side by side. If you're still single, you're not waiting. You're becoming. You're shedding the layers of conditioning, healing old patterns, and discovering who you are when no one else is watching. And here's the secret I promised at the beginning. Your soulmate is not a person. Your soulmate is the version of you that is most whole, most alive, and most true. When you become that person, love will meet you there, not as a rescue, but as a recognition. So maybe the question isn't, why am I still single? Maybe the real question is, who am I becoming while I wait? And if this message touched something deep inside you, if it made you feel seen, not judged, then you're exactly where you need to be. Your soul is preparing you for love, not made of fantasy, but of truth. If this resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. What has your journey with love and self-discovery looked like? Let's grow through this together.